Back at it with another video, man. This time we're gonna be reacting to how Paul George completely ruined his reputation, man. Paul George, man, a good player. Paul George, PG, a good player, man. Let's see how he ruined his reputation, man. This video will explain it to us. Yeah, like and subscribe to this channel because you already know we're only going up, man. But other than that, let's get straight to it.
Shout out my guy Buster Bread for this fantastic idea.
Yeah, that was probably a bad quote. He said that wrong. Probably was like, I'm gonna focus so we can work towards getting to a championship in the future.
Exactly.
I hope he wasn't talking about this shit.
He sounded real frustrated, but I'm like, yeah, that's a bad vibe.
So I'm looking at you crazy if you go pod and your performance on your pod is better than your performance in the game.
But before we wrap, fellas, it's no secret this season is up to this point, man. It hasn't been what we envisioned. I know my goal when I first signed with Philadelphia was to bring a championship to these amazing fans here. I want to let the Podcast P family know that after today's episode with Dwight, I plan to take a break from the pod.
Damn, bro. They really bullied him like to quit podcasts. That's crazy, man.
Just to focus on getting my body right.
Paul George's game is still one of the smoothest, prettiest games I think I've ever seen. Every time I see a TikTok of Paul saucing someone to this instrumental, bro, I understand. I can genuinely understand why a kid like Cayenne Anthony or even Brandon Miller would grow up calling this man their GOAT and idolize his game, especially if you have anything near his frame. Outside of his game just looking very fun to watch on YouTube, Paul George early in his career looked like he was going to be one of them ones. Okay, we know LeBron historically went 7 games with this team, but the series right before that, a 22-year-old Paul George pushed LeBron also to 7 games. Mind you, that was one of the best seasons of Bron's career, and a 22-year-old did that. Also, I always respected the fact that Paul George came back from a grueling injury and completely redefined his game, and to me became even better. These were all the great things about Paul George's legacy to me. KD left Russ. Paul George said, hell yeah, I'll take Russ, and he damn near won an MVP with him. Paul George stayed with Russ when nobody thought he would. During that 2017-2018 era, it was very easy, for me at least, to root for Paul George. But it feels like something drastically changed over the last few years. I just seen the news that Paul George is officially out for the remainder of this season. And depending on whatever the hell his market looks like in the
fuck, I didn't even know that. What happened to him?
Summer, he might have just played his last disappointing ass game in Philly. If that so happens to be the case, especially after this contract that Paul George literally just signed this summer, Paul George's reputation and legacy feels like it's ruined. I just dropped a video about Kevin Durant.
Damn.
And he feels
Yo, he getting paid, man. What the fuck?
Like it's ruined. I just dropped a video about Kevin Durant. And one of the weird things to me about Kevin Durant's legacy is the fact that he has this moment in OKC, and this moment in Golden State, and this moment in Brooklyn, and not too many great moments in Phoenix, but he did put up these numbers in Phoenix, and it still feels like he has no NBA home. Now imagine if you take away Kevin Durant's championships, MVPs, great moments, and all of his great Olympic gold medals, and you kinda have Paul George. Let's take it back to Indiana, where Paul George probably had his most memorable moments.
Man, that's so disrespectful to Kevin Durant, though. Like, why would you even compare? I ain't even gonna say.
Of anything great Paul George did in that jersey, they don't even recognize him there anymore, and he's pretty much viewed as a forever snake.
Damn.
BHP is partnering with Saskatchewan to build one of the world's largest.
Sorry guys for the ads, man. I ain't got no ad blocker or none, bro. Like,
Indiana, how do you think they gonna give you the love when you get out there?
From history, you gotta expect the worst, right? I've been booed every time going there for 7 years straight.
Well, the reason Indiana will probably forever dislike Paul George is because 1 year removed from you telling that fan base you want to be a Reggie Miller type of franchise player for them, the following season you pretty much fucked them over, and that's putting it lightly. Paul George basically demanded a trade from Indiana, completely destroyed his trade value. Mind you, he only had 1 year left on his deal, so anybody trading for him was taking an absolute risk. Allowed OKC to steal him for what at that time was viewed as an absolute fleece.
What has been the reaction this morning in Indy to this trade of Paul George for what many perceive as not as much as the superstar was worth?
Yeah, well, Linda, good morning. I want to start you out with what a lot of people in Indianapolis are doing right now. They're looking at the Indianapolis Star, the paper, and Thunderstruck is the big headline.
Now, that trade did ultimately wind up being great for Indiana because they got Sabonis, in which they flipped for their now franchise player Tyrese Halliburton. But still, the principle, bro.
But I think people here feel like they're left high and dry. The timing is terrible. Just 4 days before the draft, and I think this is going to set the Pacers back for several years to come.
It feels kind of strange to me that after all that Paul George has done, the only place that probably still has a warm spot for Paul George is OKC. Not even because of anything he did necessarily in that jersey, and he probably had his best year there, but mainly because he was the piece that landed them this guy. Even with the way that PG...
Yo, that's facts, man. Like, yo, the Clippers got finessed, man. Like, no cap. Like,
got to the Clippers. It did still feel a little backdoory. Kind of like the Indiana situation. After doing this and having a big party about staying with Russ, he and Kawhi quietly orchestrated this deal to get him on the Clippers. And this was his last play in OKC.
Yeah, this shot right here is iconic, man.
And this was his last play in OKC.
Shout out Dame. Shout out Dame, man.
I don't care what anybody says, that's a bad shot.
Even though we know it made perfect sense at that time, this graphic still lives on forever. And it continues to get worse and worse.
Oh my gosh, man. Let's really look through this, man. An MVP, Danilo Gallinari, whoever this guy is. 4 first-round picks. Wait. Oh, shit. Damn, that ain't no... That's like 7 first-round picks, man. Plus an MVP. For... How long did Paul George stay in Clippers? I don't even know. But I'm telling you, man, Clippers, man. If I'm a Clippers fan right now, man, I would be...
First, the more Shea obliterates basketball. Paul George on the Clippers. It's safe to say that he had his many struggles. Mainly he and Kawhi could never stay on the court for any significant duration of time. And to me, that destroyed this tandem. But I said in my last Paul George video, something that always seems to land him in like the most unnecessary heat is him simply talking way too much.
The Clippers are loaded, and this is gonna be like an advanced, organized version of rec ball.
Start with the fact defensively. Who's gonna score against the Los Angeles Clippers?
I would give the slight nod as a defender to Kawhi over Jordan.
I'm gonna say the Clippers. That team defensively is gonna be great.
After blowing that 3-1 lead, Paul George said this, which we knew wasn't true.
I think internally we've always felt this is not a championship or bust year for us.
In hindsight, we understand that Brooklyn had 1 year to get that job done, and they didn't. The Lakers really had 1 full, healthy year to get this job done, and they did. The Clippers literally had 1 year healthy to really get the job done, and we know they didn't.
All summer, you train for these moments to where if you fail, you fail. Live with the results.
Nope. I ain't going with that.
I'm with you, Shaq.
If you fail, you can't fail. When you're 2 for 15, nah, I ain't living with that, nah.
Paul George basically left the Clippers because of a no-trade clause, completely misinterpreting his value. And I have to say positive for the Clippers. This situation right here is a clear example of sometimes the best moves you make in life are the moves you somehow don't. This move happens to look so bad and kinda deceiving because last year Paul played the most games he ever had in that uniform. What exactly was last year? A contract year. This year, after getting that massive contract, Paul's on pace to play his third lowest. I don't know if Paul really knew about Philly prior to joining, but I promise you, he picked the wrong place and specifically the wrong fan base fresh off of this contract to fleece them, not give them any real results, and somehow seem to be more passionate about a side gig. The worst heart to break is a heart that's recently been broken repeatedly. And doing this successfully, might I add, it's a damn good podcast. Basically feels like you're dancing by the girl crying.
I did not call Clippers the B team. I said it felt like the B team just because of everywhere you go, people in LA say you should be a Laker. So that was where that comment was from. But they proved me right. They didn't pack out, and they aren't packing out into a dome.
If you guys like this video,
hey man, that's it for the video. Comment down below what you guys think, man. Like and subscribe. But other than that, your boy is out.